RuPaul's Drag Race is my favorite show on the face of this goddamn earth. I have seen every season, every All-Star season, every international spin-off besides Holland. I have seen every season of Dragula, if that means anything to you, and yes, I am a frequenter of the subreddits that shall not be named. I care about this show a lot. I care about every single cast and crew member that makes each season possible, and I care deeply about the fact that this show has broken barriers and given a platform to some of the best entertainers in the world, which is why I think the cast of season 13 is being done a little dirty this year, and I want to talk about it. Now, I know how the Drag Race fandom works, so before you go any further in this video, I will list all of my personal biases so that you can decide whether or not you want to listen to the rest of what I have to say. Season 6 is my favorite season. Season 11 is my least favorite season. Bob the Drag Queen is my favorite winner. The lip sync for the crown is the worst thing they've ever added to the show. Seasons 1 and 2 of UK are better than almost anything that the US has put out since season 9. Season 12 is the best recent season. Lawrence Chaney deserves to win UK season 2. The Drag Race fandom has a rampant racism problem that too many people are willing to brush off as playful shade. All Stars 2 is the only good All-Star season, and the mass production of All-Star seasons is actively ruining the potential of the main series, but that's a whole other video. But seriously, All-Star Season 5 is a flaming hot pile of garbage and is the worst thing the franchise has ever put out. Okay, let's begin. Season 13 could not have come at a weirder time. Obviously, we're coming off the heels of Season 12, which is generally regarded as one of the better, more recent seasons of Drag Race, and a breath of fresh air despite having to work around a disqualified contestant and a global panini. Season 12 got a lot right, so naturally Season 13 already had some big shoes to fill. But because the lung melting disease is still controlling all of our lives right now, World of Wonder had an even bigger task on their hands, filming an entire season during the panoramic and having to meet the unique scheduling demands from VH1. Obviously, I can't confirm this theory, but it's been speculated that because of the pandemonium, Season 2 of RuPaul's Secret Celebrity Drag Race, that thing that they were trying to wedge in between the main show and Untucked for a little bit back in April, was cancelled. The theory is that this left gaps in VH1's programming calendar that the mainstay season of Drag Race needed to fill. Which brings me to my first point. Season 13 of Drag Race is long. Like, unbelievably long. The season has been airing since December, and so far, only 4 girls have gone home. That's insane. It's March. So, what happened here? Obviously, a cast can only have so many queens. And if we're working off the theory that VH1 needed to fill some time, obviously there has to be a number of non-elimination episodes. This is also basically confirmed by the decision to air the COVID special mid-season. And before I say this, please hear me out. I commend the cast and crew and producers for doing the best they could during the Pantene conditioner. I'm sure that it wasn't easy, and I hope they are all getting the recognition that they deserve over at VH1 and World of Wonder. That being said, the first episode of Season 13 was a horrible decision in virtually every way. Now, before I get into specifics here, I think this is an issue that the show has had for a little while now. Everyone knows that the lip syncs are the best part of the series, but the lip syncs are only good when they have stakes. You need to see what a queen is fighting for in order to have any meaning for a viewer. This is why things like the lip sync for the crown and the recent assassin twist in All Stars do not work. Drag Race is unique from any other reality show in that the contestants who are in the bottom for the challenges have one last fighting chance to prove to the host what they are about before they get sent home. And it is made for some of the greatest reality TV moments in history. So to have a cast of queens who we as the audience have never met walk into the workroom 2 by 2 and immediately have to lip sync against each other only to meet some uncertain fate not only doesn't have a payoff for the viewer because we don't know what's happening, but we're literally watching the queens also not know what's happening, which is more distressing than anything else and does not make for a very pleasant viewing experience. So besides that tonal failure, the producers really shot themselves in the foot with the way they decided to split up the queens for the first 2 episodes. A criticism that you often hear from Drag Race fans nowadays is that the show has become overproduced. That's not true. Every reality show is written the same way, with story arcs and cast members that are positioned to make it to the end. The problem with the recent seasons of Drag Race is that they are sloppily produced. I'd say after season 7, it became extremely easy to predict who would make top 4 in every season within the first 2 episodes, and that's without reading the spoiler sub. For one reason or another that I haven't quite figured out yet, the producers of the show have just gotten worse and worse with the element of surprise. And if you want to make your pre-planned storyboard less transparent, the worst possible thing to do is to divide your cast up into an A and B squad. I mean, never before in 13 seasons of this show have I been able to visually see a producer's thought process play out in front of me. Oh, we want Candy in the second episode. Let's pair her with the cast member who literally describes herself as a filler queen. We want Mick to be the fashion queen that makes it to the end without a bottom 2 placement. Let's put her up against the one queen she can actually beat to a bootleg copy of a Lindsay Lohan single. I mean, the only good lip sync the whole episode was Simone and Tamisha won that shit, and they didn't even let her have that. It was dumb, the whole thing was dumb, it placed an undue amount of hate on the winning queens as if they had any control over the outcome. The drama with Elliot was stupid and mean-spirited and didn't go anywhere, and I usually roll my eyes when fans complain about rigging because, again, every TV show was rigged, but they 100% deserve it this time because of the bad tone it started off the whole season with. Problem number 2, the pacing is weird. Most Drag Race fans will tell you that too much of the show is never a bad thing, especially if you remember the cast reveal drought between season 7 and season 8 back in the day. But a reality show, much like a scripted show, still has to be paced well, and if it's not, you're definitely going to notice. Now again, I want to acknowledge that this is not entirely World of Wonder's fault if we're working off the assumption that they had no choice but to stretch things out. But we didn't see an elimination until episode 4. For comparison's sake, in season 8, we were already at top 9 by like the 3rd episode. I understand it's nice to get to see more of each queen before they're eliminated early on, but at the same time, this is a competition, and feeling like the competition isn't progressing can really get stale. And I think this all really came to a head in the most recent episode with Candy and Simone's double Shantae. Sidebar here, Candy Muse is fucking awesome. She's hilarious, her mug is great, she gave us the most memorable Untucked moment in like 10 years, and I think this move gave her the short end of the stick. Obviously, the producers want Candy to be in the series for as long as possible, which I don't blame them for because reality TV is nothing without a little personality. But Candy had already been in the bottom once prior, when she really shouldn't have been. It honestly should have been Mick and Utica, and was forced to go up against Simone, who was the frontrunner of the season. Had the show at a typical pace, it would have made more narrative sense for Candy to go here. But because there is so much more of the season ahead of us, of course the producers had to keep her in order to keep up the momentum of the season entertainment-wise. And if you disagree with me, just remember how boring season 10 got after Monique left. Remember how predictable season 8 was once Acid Betty was gone. These kinds of choices do matter, but they're less obvious when a season feels like it's moving along quickly enough for eliminations to feel justified. And season 13 can't afford to be that boring for that long. Problem number 3, season 13 is airing alongside a much better season. Now this has also never happened before. Once again, because of the Panda Express, Drag Race UK season 2 is airing at the same time as the US version. You'd think that this would almost benefit the US a little bit, but because UK season 2 is well paced and is more genuine in its presentation, you really start to notice why season 13 feels a little off. UK Season 2 only has a certain number of episodes to hit every mark and get everything wrapped up. It's why they let multiple girls win challenges at a time, and why non-elimination episodes are virtually non-existent. And while it means we've had to say goodbye to some beloved queens so early, it really keeps the show moving. Plus, it feels like more of a competition. Sure, Lawrence and Nahora are obvious frontrunners, but Bimini, who is more than a contender for the crown at this point, lip-synced the very first episode. Estina won episode 1 and was sent home 2 episodes later. You never see that on US seasons anymore. It's like the US version doesn't let their seasons breathe and play out naturally, and that's why it's sometimes so frustrating to watch. So here's the thing. I don't think season 13 has a bad cast. I don't think any cast has ever really been bad. But I think a handful of production choices, some of which were not in anybody's control, has really made the season hard to get behind for some people, and that really sucks for the queens, who are also not getting the added benefit from things like touring or cons right now. And I know I'm going to get the inevitable, if you don't like it, don't watch it, naysayers, but here's the thing. I do like it, and that's why I do watch. I'm the furthest thing from a Drag Race hater that you can possibly get. I know what the show is capable of delivering, and I want that for every single queen who walks into the workroom. But regardless, I'll watch until season 13 finally comes to an end, and if you're wondering, I'm rooting for Simone and Rosé because why wouldn't I be? Now, do yourself a favor and go watch UK Season 2.